So we'll start actually with a base 2.4 liter MPI engine that's basically running on an Atkinson cycle. It allows us to lower the effective compression ratio, so you get essentially less pumping loss on the compression stroke, which allows you to operate more efficiently. It's a highly efficient structure for a normal powertrain to operate under. So you start with this base engine on an unusual cycle, and then we have the hybrid starter generator, which is kind of one of the key items in this system. It acts to start the motor. So whenever this engine is idle, and there are times where we shut down and start up, the hybrid starter generator can fire the engine up smoothly and cleanly. And one of the best features of this thing is that you rarely know when the engine is off or when it's on, and part of that is the way the starter generator works. The other thing that this does is takes power from the internal combustion engine and provides it back through the starter generator to the battery. So we can charge the battery, use the motor, the engine as a generator through this. It's slightly unusual. What we've got is a hybrid of a hybrid. This system is often used in something called an idle stop and go system, where essentially you just shut down the engine at a stoplight and start it back up again. Well, we took an existing component idea and integrated it into a full hybrid system. So the part itself isn't unique, but the usage is unique. The only other unusual thing here is the electric AC compressor. So this is your air conditioning compressor in a traditional location where you'd see it on any other car with just without a pulley. So you'll notice that it's electronically controlled as opposed to pulley driven with a clutch system. It's just a highly efficient, like any electronic air compressor is going to be. This also is not an unusual component. This is something you'd see in a manual transmission vehicle. It basically just takes any kind of vibration, torsional vibrations, and absorbs it. It's very similar to a dual mass flywheel. But we have the potential for torsional vibration along this drive line, and this basically absorbs some of that, especially when the engine is fired up by the hybrid starter generator. So when this is fired up and we go to couple this system all together and provide some of the internal combustion power to this system, this damper absorbs any shock coming through that system. Now, in a lot of hybrids, actually, you'll feel and hear the engine start up. Several of them. You can feel it as soon as you press the accelerator pedal. I won't mention names, but you press the accelerator pedal and you feel some kind of rumble, and usually it's actually just the mounts, the way they've fired up the engine. And we actually, the way we fuel this engine, we're able to fire it up almost seamlessly, and you'll notice that anytime you drive the car. And like I said, it also has to do with the starter generator. But anything residual, when you couple this system up, this will dampen out some of the vibration. This is the beauty of the system, to me. We've got our traditional 6-speed transmission, where other systems, power split systems, which is the most common system in the hybrid universe, the best-selling vehicles out there, anything you can name, usually uses a power split system, which is 2 motors integrated into a transmission. It's very heavy, it's very expensive, it's very complicated. This is our 6-speed automatic. You'd find it in the current 2.4 liter Sonata. So the 2.4 GDI Sonata that's on the market now, this is its transmission. So we can use this existing piece in the hybrid. That saves us a tremendous amount of money. It saves customers any kind of replacement costs. Say there's ever a problem, which you generally don't have to worry about, but if there's ever a problem, you can replace any piece in this system, as opposed to, say, the more typical hybrid systems, the power split systems. Something goes wrong in their transmission. Any one of the motors has a problem. They have 2 motors, they have multiple clutches, they have gears. Anything goes wrong in there, you replace the entire thing. It's incredibly expensive. It's the replacement cost of the vehicle. It's very complex and it's very heavy. We save a tremendous amount of weight, and we have a modular system where if we have a problem with this motor, we can take this out, replace this motor, keep the clutch, keep the transmission, and we're done. Basically what happens is, when we want to couple these, you can operate any of these systems kind of independently. You can operate this motor to drive the wheels. So this motor alone, with the engine off, can drive the wheels. So we have this electromagnet essentially here, hooks through this transmission. We can shift gears like a normal vehicle, drive the wheels. If there comes a time where we need additional power, where the battery needs more support, we can fire up this engine with the HSG, the hybrid starter generator, and we couple this internal combustion engine through this clutch with this motor supporting it through the transmission to drive the wheels. So this entire system then can work together through this clutch. When we go to couple all this together, essentially we can be driving the wheels with this electric motor, and we decide, okay, we need more power. We need more power to the wheels. We fire up this engine with the hybrid starter generator. We basically come through and couple this clutch electronically. We couple the clutch. That basically links this internal combustion engine through with the motor supporting through this clutch into the automatic transmission to drive the wheels. So the whole system actually can operate so that this internal combustion engine can drive the transmission with the motor just riding along for support. Both can couple together through this clutch and drive the wheels through the transmission, or you can separate out the internal combustion engine, shut it off, and drive the motor just with this electric motor. Sorry, drive the wheels with this electric motor. The only difficulty would be a larger motor, a larger engine, maybe a more robust clutch assembly, say if you're talking about a larger vehicle, an SUV. And we have basically different versions of this 6-speed automatic for larger applications that we could put into a larger vehicle or a smaller vehicle. We could envision a 1.6 liter running through this same system. But the architecture, because it's modular, because you can break out each of these pieces, gives us a whole lot of flexibility. The performance characteristics, the best thing about it is that it drives like a traditional powertrain. Now, a lot of hybrids use a continuously variable transmission, so they actually have an odd sound character that people notice and tend to complain about. There's kind of a rubber band sound. You get that sound that never feels like a normal car. It also doesn't give you the acceleration characteristic of a normal car. What makes a car feel traditional or normal to customers is often the shift points. It's something that you don't pay attention to normally, but that feeling of hearing the RPM rise and then fall again as you shift gears is very comfortable for people, and we found that in customer clinics. We do blind studies with our car versus competitive vehicles, and we've won those clinics because customers feel this normal thing happening as a transmission shifts gears, and it feels familiar, comfortable to them, gives them a normal performance characteristic. It actually feels dynamic and sporty compared to other hybrids, in my view. It has a powerful and yet kind of comfortable, familiar feeling, I think, for most customers. In terms of the efficiency, basically we have a very high operating speed for this motor. So we can operate up to 72, I've seen, 72 miles per hour with the internal combustion engine off. So cruising at highway speed, 70 miles per hour, you can be running with just this motor, which is very efficient. And the battery state of charge is managed by all kinds of complex stuff, but there's regeneration from kinetic energy from the road. So if you lift your foot as you're cruising at 70 miles per hour, you lift your foot off the accelerator pedal, and you're basically cruising or coasting, there's kinetic energy that you can harvest from the road through the wheels. That's called regenerative braking. You're probably familiar with it with other hybrids. That's harvested also through this motor. It's basically taken back in through this motor and put to the battery. So it can operate at very high speeds, very high, I say 70 miles per hour, which is a speed limit in most places, with the engine off. Because of that, that allows us to get the best fuel economy on the highway in the segment. So we still beat competitors in the city, and then for the highway miles, we smoke it. We have two motors essentially in the system, right? We have this main drive motor with this clutch. We have the starter generator is actually another motor. So in the other power split systems, those two motors are integrated into this transmission. And as I mentioned earlier, the cost essentially is that we have this unit that's not integrated into this huge, complex system. It's actually a unit that we can replace really easily. So the warranty costs are much, much easier for us. The cost burden on the customer, which is obviously the most important thing, is also reduced. So their cost burden is reduced on both sides because we have a modular system as opposed to something that's kind of fully integrated and heavy and more complex. This is as unique, as special as that modular system we just talked about. This is a lithium polymer battery. most of the batteries in traditional hybrid systems are nickel metal hydride, which actually is heavier, less efficient, and larger. And one of the issues that customers have with hybrids is just storage space. Trunks in hybrids tend to be filled with batteries and fans, and so your trunk space, your usable trunk space, can be fairly small. So with our system, actually, we have a 40% reduction in size because the lithium polymer battery is you can actually get as much energy out of a smaller lithium polymer battery as you can out of a larger nickel metal hydride battery. The other advantage is in weight. There's a 25% weight savings in our battery for the same capacity as a nickel metal hydride system. So in a nickel metal hydride battery, you'd be looking at an equivalent battery size of about 125 pounds. For us, it's under 100 pounds. So we save weight, which also saves fuel. We save size, which gives you extra usable storage capacity. And then the last thing that you gain is actually about a 10% gain in efficiency. So this basically is able to provide motive power for that little electric motor more efficiently, 10% more efficiently than a nickel metal hydride battery, which means basically that you have a little more power always to give to the wheels through that motor and a little easier ability to take a charge kinetically from the wheels. The beauty of this is similar to this, where we tried to have an elegant simplicity throughout the system. This is also elegantly simple. There are only 72 units, where in some other battery systems with nickel metal hydride, you're actually looking at hundreds of cells. And other lithium ion systems, actually, you can be looking at hundreds of cells. These are larger cells, but we have fewer of them, so the overall manufacture of this is much less complex than a traditional or than current systems. The other benefit, actually, is that you have about a 25% increase in capacity to maintain a charge, which means that overnight or after you leave a vehicle for several days, it's much more likely that you'll be able to start the vehicle up and you'll have usable battery power, where with nickel metal hydride, you actually, some of your charge can get exhausted over that period of days, and it takes more internal combustion energy to generate power to get this battery charge up to a usable level so you can drive with it. Ours will hold the charge 25% longer.
From the initial stage of this development, our intention was to replace the V6 engines. That's by a much smaller displacement turbocharged engine. So it was a very challenging task because we had to get enough performance to replace the V6 engines, but improve the fuel economy dramatically by downsizing so that we can offer the customers with the most fuel efficient vehicle in the market. So this engine is equipped with various new technologies, very innovative technologies, so it can offer the performance of the V6 engines while it's giving the fuel economy of a 4-cylinder engine. So it's a very innovative engine for the new Sonata. We have applied the state-of-the-art gasoline drag injection system, which helps to improve the performance, fuel economy, and minimize the emissions as well. And we have applied the twin-screw turbocharger, which is very effective to improve the performance and response of the engine dramatically, so that we can have the drivability of the V6 engines. In twin-screw turbocharger, there's a split wall in between the exhaust passes of 1, 4, and 2, 3 cylinders. So we can minimize the interference between the cylinders and the exhaust interference between the exhausting gases. So in this way, we can reduce the residual gases inside the combustion chamber and improve the combustion, and also more effectively transfer the exhaust energy to the turbine of the turbocharger. So in general, we can not just improve the performance, but we can also improve the response of the engine. So by up to about 25% compared to the conventional single-screw turbocharger. So it's a very effective device to improve the performance and response of the engine. Since our engineering concept is to replace the V6 engines, the driver will feel the performance of the V6 engines. That will be very powerful, it will be very drivable in reality. And when you're, for example, driving the highway, the engine has the EPA certified fuel economy of 33 mpg, which is very competitive even you compare with normal, much less powerful vehicles, 2.4 liter, 2.5 liter natural aspirated vehicles. It has a very competitive highway fuel economy, so the driver will feel a very low, very high fuel economy while he feels a good drivability and performance. So it's going to give a great value to the customers. It has a significant weight reduction, and also since we are going from 6-cylinder to the 4-cylinder, it reduces a lot of frictions as well inside the engines. For example, you don't have to move 2 additional cylinders, and you don't have to rotate the camshaft for additional bank and so on. So it's much less friction. There's a work to induct and extract the gas out of the cylinder. This is called a pumping work, and this is also reduced a lot. So the weight reduction, the pumping loss reduction are the major factors to reduce the fuel economy, improve the fuel economy and the downsizing. We are currently developing a lineup of turbocharged gasoline direct injection engines for the purpose of improving the fuel efficiency of our engine lineup by the downsizing. So we are replacing large displacement natural aspirated engines by smaller but powerful and efficient turbocharged GDI engines. So we are currently developing a lineup of engines, turbocharged gasoline injection engines, direct injection engines in our R&D center. Unlike the other turbocharged and gasoline direct injection engines in the market, we have developed the engine to run in the normal, regular, unleaded gasoline. So we extract the best-in-class performance, 274 horsepower, 269 pound-foot of torque, using the regular, unleaded gasoline. So we paid a lot of attention for the combustion system, engine cooling system to do it. And this is a very important feature for customers, because the customers can obtain all the performance of this engine by just using the regular gasoline.